Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today is Saturday. I just got back from the dump. Boy, it was crowded. I could not believe how crowded it was at the transfer station. When I left, I had to wait for an opening to go out, and there was cars lined all the way down, probably a quarter of a mile right around the corner, just waiting to get in. I've never seen it that busy before. I have no idea why. I guess because it's sunny and in the low 50s, and I guess it was just a good day to go to the dump. But anyway, a couple things I want to talk about today. Lower the camera down a little bit here. I have been extremely busy. No more orders than ever. It's just that the orders have been bigger, a lot bigger. I'm going from, 3 to 5 orders a day, averaging $25, $35, $45, $55 to 3 to 5 orders a day that are 120, 150, 180. So it's like triple my workload. And I didn't have a lot of inventory to begin with, so I've really been busy. That having been said, I've made, and it's been brought to my attention, I made a couple of mistakes on a couple of orders. One is I sent out a simmer ring, and I forgot to drill the hole in for the little rod to go through. I don't sell a lot of simmer rings, sell one, every week or two. And I just forgot. I was in a hurry trying to catch up with all the orders, and I forgot. So I'm sending this guy another simmer ring. And I took my time this time, made sure it was a nice, good job. Because I'm trying to make amends for screwing up. My fault, not his, my fault. Okay, the second email I got this morning, a gentleman's big order, and one of the things he ordered was an ATP. And he emailed me and asked me, his first email was, I understand you sell a 2-cup, 16-ounce ATP, but I don't see it in the store. So I emailed him back and said, no, I don't sell a 16-ounce ATP, but I surely can make you one. And he emailed me back and said, okay, that'd be great. How do I pay for that? And I emailed him back. You know how emails, a bunch of them, a whole pile of them. I emailed him back and said, that's easy. Just go in and order an ATP. I'll write right down here in my journal your name, and that when I get to the ATP order, to make it a 16-ounce instead of 12. No extra charge, just a longer can. Okay. So, got an email today saying received his order and everything was great, except that the ATP was 16-ounce and he wanted 20. Really? Okay, so I went into sent and looked at all the emails that we went back and forth. And he asked for 16, and I talked about 16. It was all 16. There was no 20 in there at all. Went to PayPal, looked for a note in there, printed out another packing slip, and if there was a note, no note anywhere for 20 ounce. So here's my view on it. He didn't get what he wanted. Regardless of how he communicated with me, for whatever reason, either he was thinking 20 and he said 16, or somewhere, and I can't find it, he asked for a 20. And I don't even think I sent him a 16. I think in the flurry, I made a pickup load of these ATPs the day I made his, and I think he got just a regular 12-ounce ATP. And anyway, he evidently wants a 20-ounce. He's a customer. He placed a fairly large order, and for whatever reason, I'm not going to blame anybody, he wants a 20-ounce ATP. My fault? Don't know. His fault? Don't know. Doesn't matter. All that matters is that he doesn't have what he wants. That's a problem. So I came out and I made a 20-ounce ATP, and I made it so when it held 20 ounces, it had about that much above it for bubble trouble, toil and trouble, whatever, so wouldn't boil over. And that's in on my printer, and with another pack, his original packing slip. And if I don't get another email from him between now and then, Monday morning, that will go out along with the new simmer ring with the hole in it. Okay, that's how that rolls. It's real easy here. I'm not some big corporation. I'm pretty easy to work with, and I understand, if you don't have what you want, you're not happy. And I want everybody, unless they're a real wise guy, I want everybody to be happy. If you're a troll or something, yeah, probably not going to happen. But anybody who's civil, yep, no problem at all. We'll get it straightened out. If you want something custom or whatever, if I can reasonably make it happen, I will. Okay, that brings me on to another subject. I got an email from a guy yesterday, I think, or the day before, and he wanted to know where all the big stoves were in the store. And that's a good question. Want to know, I think Bongo Pro and M2 and that type of stuff. And I explained to him that those stoves, there weren't a lot of people interested in them. Well, there were, but anyway, they all bought them. And as my brother-in-law used to say, that stove has gone out of vogue. In other words, it's not popular anymore. And I sold, M2 and Bongo Pro. I was selling like one a month, if that. And they were difficult to make. I had a whole area of the machine shop dedicated just to making those two stoves with milling machines and flood coolant and center cut end mills and all that. Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I decided, since they were so slow and really no advantage to them, I discovered that if you take just a center burner wick and pull it up 3/4 of an inch, it was just as hot as running an M2 wick, is what those stoves ran. The M2 donut wick. It was no difference in heat. It was just a little lower profile. So I thought, okay. Second off, those stoves were the old style that when you let off the fuel bottle, unless you had a gravity cap, it sucked the fuel out of the stove. And they were very difficult to make, and there was really no advantage to them over an SS2. So what I decided to do was this. I built the SS2, which doesn't require all that milling and flood coolant and all that. Completely threw the baby out with the bathwater on it. Got right away from, that was insanity. It was no money in it, and it was all kinds of tooling. And if you've ever taken a rotary table apart, you know where I'm coming from. And I decided to sell one stove that would do everything they do and be much more compact. So I went to the SS1, and then people wanted a simmer ring, and I invented the super cap, which the hose wraps up on. I thought, okay, let's just fell swoop this. I'm just going to sell the S2, that's the S1, with a simmer ring and super cap, all in a case. Put it right in your pocket, never even know you've got it there. And that does everything the Bongo Pro does. It does everything the M2 does. Works fine. And one stove, much easier for me to make body-wise, a lot more. I got to build simmer rings and I got to build super caps and all that. But from the body part of it, I don't have to use a milling machine, don't have to use a rotary table, and more important, the flood coolant. So that gets rid of a whole series of problematic things that I wasn't happy with anymore. And made for a better stove, more compact, lighter weight. So if you want one of those bigger stoves, the answer to that is just buy an SS2. It'll do everything those stoves will do. It comes with an extra piece of wick. If you want to really make a hot stove, just take an SS2 and cut yourself a new wick and make it like an inch long, and you've got all the heat you'd ever want. And that's, that's the name of that tune. I was going to make the SS the M2 and the Bongo Pro snorkel stoves like the SS2, so that when you let off the bottle, it wouldn't pull the fuel back. But in order to, you couldn't just, it didn't work out. There wasn't room enough to put everything where it was supposed to be and still have the same stove. For example, if you milled the base out to make it a snorkel stove, there was really no place to put the legs and the Bongo Pro, and there was no advantage to it. So I just scrapped the baby with the bathwater and went to the SS2, which is the ultimate stove, in my humble opinion. Okay, believe it or not, this afternoon, even though I don't want to, I have to build beer can rings because I don't have any. That 20-ounce pot, that was the last beer can ring I had. Luckily, I had one, and I built that beer can pot, and that's it. I'm all out. So I have to build beer can rings today. If I'm going to sell stuff, got to be done. And am I thrilled about it? No. Am I sick of doing that? Absolutely. Just almost to the point of losing my dinner just thinking about it. But that's my job, and I made this whole thing, so now I've got to live with it. So this afternoon, I'm making beer can rings. And in reality, it's not that bad a job. It's just that, not unlike the job I had at Sylvania, it's the same thing, right? Over and over and over. And I'm sure if you sat down and talked to Smoke Eater about lids and beer can rings, he'd tell you the same thing. It'll drive you nuts. It's the same thing, right? Over and over and over, to the point where you can't take it anymore. He was in a situation where he could quit doing it. I'm not. Another year and a half, I'll probably still make beer can rings and lids. But different situation. For working for a different cause. And I think, hopefully, that'll make it fun again. It's a difference between cutting wood for a company and cutting wood for your wood stove. It's a lot more fun when every stick you cut, you know you're going to be burning this winter. A lot more fun than just cutting it for, $10 an hour. And I think you do a better job too. But anyway, I've beat my gums more than long enough. That's just the name of that tune. I got to go build beer can rings. I hope everybody's happy, and if you're not, let me know. I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Try to have a really great day, and try to have some fun today. You deserve it. Bye-bye.